So we're live on Maui. This is Thomas Valentine Hollick, and I had this opportunity and was blessed to be with Ken Victorino. He was a retired police officer of 7 years, and he was a Army vet that had Parkinson's. And I've worked with a Parkinson's case before for 4 years. A sergeant Marines. It was my partner's dad, and I knew how to handle the situation. His cousins, well, the mayor, Mike Victorino, just so you know, is his cousin. The mayor. And then his son is a famous ball player, Shane Victorino. And so I know they found out that I was doing this, but they were very busy themselves doing what they're doing. And word got out that I was helping their cousin, Ken Victorino. So, and I know that they really appreciated it because of when I would see him, they would be smiling and everything. Shane met with me, took pictures with me. And then I started talking to him and sharing about, his family with Mike, to say hi to Mike, and Jocelyn, his mom. And he's just in all smiles and everything, and has the aloha spirit. So when I met with this Hawaiian woman next door on the property, she was feeding the cats, and I go, "What are you doing?" She goes, "Well, I feed animals. I'm feeding the cats and everything." I go, "I love to see the cats and all." And so I'm on the side where I go and meditate and everything, and I got to see all the animals come into the house, and then they started coming to my house. So, but I met with Ken through her. He was a pretty tough guy. He was a police officer too. So, but he was bent down, and he had a very serious situation with Parkinson's. He was shaking, and I've dealt with this before. And so I would go on a daily basis with the animals. I would check on him, make sure he had. She would feed him breakfast. She'd come in for lunch, and she was Hawaiian, and she was a dear friend of his of 15 years, and she would check with dinner. Well, in the meantime, they would have people deliver food to him to make sure that he was eating. Well, certain times he wouldn't. The food would be there, and he wouldn't come to the door. So I would go in with the food to make sure that he received the food, and that he forgot time, he was medication, and it became very close to him, like from the heart. I felt that he needed the help the most, regards to his condition is Parkinson's. As I mentioned, I've dealt with Parkinson's, leukemia, cancer, scoliosis. I've worked personally with. So I have a heart to help people, and especially the elders, and especially the vets, and the disabled. And I've done that for 20 years. And so I stepped in during the COVID situation. Nobody would see Ken. The people from the services and all would have the mask on and have the shield on, and they would talk to him through the screen door. And I go, "What's this?" They can't even be in contact with them. They can't even talk to him. They just speak to him on the phone and say they're going to show up, and we can't get too close to him. Well, I did. I could come right around and go right into his place. I could go from the front, and I could come from the back, because where I live and everything, I go and meditate out on the grass and the rocks to get to where he's at. So the doors are wide open, and the animals are coming in and out through the day. Even the the birds would come in. The roosters, I hate to tell you, but the roosters and chickens would come to eat because the cats were being fed. So all the birds with the roosters and chickens, they fly up on the railings, and they woo woo woo. They get that sound that's very chilling. I had to go check what's going on. Well, they're crowing to get fed. If the cats are eating, we're going to eat too. So he was so upset that who's going to take care of these cats if anything happens to me? And he looked at me to be the caretaker of all the cats that that he would that would come. Now since he's they're see me, they're coming to my place around the clock, like seven to 9 to 10 of them, whatever, and they'd be like clockwork. They would walk in and then they'd walk out. They'd have food and they'd have water. They had what they wanted, and they can prowl around through the day and in the nighttime. And then the property where I'm at, um, they said, hey, look, we know you're taking care of them and everything, and just keep it low tune, because this is going to get out there, whatever, that he's I'm doing comic relief with him. I got him laughing, and it would change his way of manners, because he was a very negative person, that I had to change around and do comic relief to get him in laughter, because he was in so much from trauma from the war. And as a police officer, he was a certain way about him. He was a rough, tough guy, and but I loosened him up with comic relief. So that was my experience with Ken Victorino, and I hope that that's helpful for others to go help their elders and all, and disabled, and the vets especially, that fought for our country and everything, and stood for us. We need to stand for them. And that's what I want to bring out to the world, is to bring joy to the elders, the shut-ins, the ones that, especially during the virus thing, we're not getting any kind of assistance where there was human touch in any way. I didn't go in with masks and all that. I was totally fine. I never got sick or anything. And I just feel very blessed and anointed by God, that God sent me in to be a messenger to help. And that's what I did. And I was blessed to do it. And I felt very fulfilled, that we could help another soul along the way that's been helping our country and our communities here in Maui.